starting to the top left of the map of Akelon. We have the Zerg player who brought us into this third game between the two. It is Samsung Galaxy.
Samsung Galaxy RorO.
RorO with really good play in game number 2. A lot of multitasking going on, multi-pronged attacks everywhere on the map. At the bottom right, we have his opponent's strong player in this matchup, starting for SKT1.
SK Telecom T1 Classic.
Classic. I notice he has like an extender for his earbuds, or his headphones, whatever you want to call them, his in-ear headphones. I like that. Well, gonna be a gateway expand again. And Akelon is a great map for Pro players to take a third base. It's easy for Zergs to take a third too, but it's much more, you know, in this matchup, generally if a Pro gets a third base for free, that's really good for him. And this is an interesting build. Gas before Pool. RorO is just being so aggressive, and I think he might do it again.
That's old school.
Yeah, that's like super old school.
That's like Starcraft 2 beta, 14-14.
Yeah.
Not quite. He built the gas first, but still, that works quite well.
That's like what your friend tells you to do when you're learning the game, because that way you can defend a 4-gate.
Yeah. That was the build. Good old days.
I miss those days sometimes.
This is going to be really interesting to see what he's going to do here, but he will definitely have the opportunity to get a very fast speed into the game, and also, of course, not only the fast beam, but the Zerglings here. And the one thing that really brought him the advantage that led to his victory in game number 2 was that he delayed this third base for oh so long and never really relented the aggression. So that's something that can work for him too. He needs to pressure Classic a little bit, and that's kind of what he apparently wants to do in game number 3 as well.
Yeah, pulls out of gas after mining enough for speed. So we're going to see speed very quickly. Of course, that's the idea behind getting the gas that early. But he's starting this quickly with speed. He could be doing a speedling timing here.
He should try to kill this probe. The Zerglings are out, and he can take it down. There we go. Can he snipe it? Where are the other Zerglings? 2 more should come in a second. And the probe, he does not click on the gas.
He doesn't know how much.
Gas, yeah. But he does not know that gas has already been mined and that speed is on the way.
Yeah, he has no idea. Didn't see the pool. And he's just going for it, Kelder. 6 lings already. He's only going to be using this hatchery at the natural as a macro hatch, and he is just going to do a speedling all in. Or at the very least, a timing to try to force a cancel on the Nexus. It's a very wide ramp on this map, so it's really tough for a Protoss to wall and defend that Nexus at the natural. And RorO is just trying to blindside him here.
The crucial point is not letting the Nexus finish. If he can attack and do damage before the Nexus finishes, then the Mothership Core with the Photon Overcharge is absolutely useless. Could also try to go into the main base. That's why the Overlord is checking here. Wants to know, okay, well, can I actually get in here?
Look at this Classic, like, he's got a sense of it, though. Look at how he walls at the top of his ramp. He thinks he knows what's going on here. He's got an inkling that something like this might be happening. He's prepared to let that Nexus finish, like you said, use the overcharge to get a wall. Sentry's already prepared. Boom, force field here. But a few lings are already inside.
Yep, the lings are inside, and the Nexus is already being attacked. More Zerglings streaming in. The Sentry is gone, and as soon as the force field disappears, those lings will be in the main base. They can take down the Nexus first if they want to, or they can just go straight for the main, but there are already a couple of other Zerglings going for the probes.
Okay, he got the wall up at least.
Yeah, but the Nexus
is definitely not going to survive here. Not even going to use the overcharge on it. He's going to wait until the lings in the main base if they do. And like I said, RorO can transition now. He doesn't even have to commit to going to the main base, and already droning up a little bit here. He's just going to make sure the Nexus is never retaken. He's always going to keep his lings down there, and this is a terrible position for Classic to be in.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, right now he lost already his Nexus. He's on 3 bases. 3 gateways. There's even a gap. He didn't even realize that there's a hole in there, and now suddenly he tries to get in. Yeah, but the Sentry is already in position.
Still, that threat is always going to be there now.
And he's just going to scout at the bottom. He's trying to find out, alright, are you taking your expansion? When are you going to take it? Are you attacking me on one base? And he himself already droned up. He's at 36. He has a great income now on 2 mineral lines. So this position for RorO is absolutely beautiful.
He's never going to get that Nexus up until he gets another round of units. It starts to warp another Zealot here. All he has to do, actually, I'd like to see him snipe that probe, even if he loses some zillions for it.
Kind of bait out a few force fields here. Not just yet, but here we have the probe now. Palm at the front first, and then we go straight into the Nexus here. But the problem for him really being is that the third base has been started, and there is not a lot that Classic can do about it.
Yeah. RorO really putting on the aggression in this series. It's kind of fun to watch, like watching a player who has basically resigned himself to only doing aggressive builds in this series and making it work. Roach Warren going down here,
Well, RorO saw what Void Rays can do to your army, so he's like, no way I'm gonna go.
no, I mean on Actalon especially, it really does make a lot of sense. You know what, this Roach Warren coming down here like this, I think he might actually just make a bunch of roaches and try to end the game.
You know, the thing is, he did not. The problem for Classic was really that he didn't check the gas. He saw there was gas, but he was just like, well, okay, you took your hatch, you took your pool, and you took gas after that. But that was not the case. The gas was so fast, and Classic didn't know. He knew that there was the option of having speed in there pretty early in the game. That's why he started to wall and everything. But he never expected it to be like this fast. He didn't expect the build that was going gas into pool.
Yeah. And, you know, the funny thing is about all of this is if he does go for an aggressive Roach build, it will probably kill Classic because he's going to commit so much to his economy now, because he knows that if RorO plays a straight-up standard game, then he's going to be so far behind with the economy, so he has to get a fast third. And if he does commit to Roaches, I think it could be good for him. But so far, he's just droning up.
He has so many options right now.
He does. I mean, the sky's the limit for him right now.
This is one of the games where I would go Spire, Mutalisk, and then lose the game. That would happen to me. That's why I'm really happy that RorO does go for Spire here.
Turns out RorO's not Calder.
I always have that problem when I love playing with Mutalisk. I really love it. But then when I'm far ahead, I think like, alright, cool, I'm just gonna get Mutalisk and overwhelm him, and then I'm getting taken apart. And I'm always like, damn it, I did it again. Why?
You know, he could go Swarmos here, and he is getting the Devastation Pit. I think that's what we're gonna see.
He should actually, because with what he scouts, he knows that there's not a lot of area of effect damage. So it would be a very great choice for him to actually go into Swarmhost. He's getting the +1 attack upgrade for the ranged units, and a Swarmhost siege up against this base could do a whole lot, especially since he can attack the third or the natural.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see. There's the Locust upgrade, so definitely
a fourth base immediately. And that's beautiful, because he knows everything that's happening, and he knows fully well that there's a third base going down. But there's not a whole lot that he can do right now. So he's just looking at it as like, well, you know what, I have the resources, I'm going from a fourth base, you can do whatever you want, deal with my tech later, but I will have the economy to back everything up that I do here.
Phoenixes actually meet each other after scouting. He sees the Invasion Pit. We'll probably see a second Robo and the Bay started simultaneously here. He needs to, if he wants to have any hope of holding his third base. And seeing the timing of the Invasion Pit's already done and he hasn't started his Bay is really a scary thing as a Protoss. And actually he's getting +2 first, but he really needs that Bay. I don't know what he's thinking here. I mean, he's got to get it. The longer he waits, the worse off he's going to be against the Locusts that are going to be barreling down constantly, wave after wave, from those Swarm hosts. There it is.
Yeah, but it's still too late. The creep spread on the map is decent. That's something that RorO can now increase. RorO is just going to the basics now. He's going also for the Spire. Of course, not to just get a couple of Mutalisks in there, but he wants to have a few Corruptors, so in case that his opponent has a couple of Colossi that he can deal with them. Could go for any kind of switch actually at this point, since he already has 8 gas, which will give him the opportunity to be very flexible and react to whatever Classic is doing.
Yeah. And there's the second Robotics. I wonder why he's not moving those Swarm hosts any further forward. Now he is sort of a weird first wave of his Locusts. Obviously, with the first wave, you're not really going to start doing damage, but now he goes, sends him out here. Just going to keep any Protoss armies that move on the map away from him for a little while longer while he gets that fourth base saturated, gets the Hive Tech even here. And I think we're going to see with that Hive Tech instantly Vipers.
Yeah, we definitely should, but he also needs to start to be a little bit more aggressive with the units that he has on the map and really establish this map control that he can now get.
Yeah, does not want the Protoss to actually capitalize on that third base. That's the whole idea behind these Swarm hosts. 9 Corruptors on the way, going to make it a lot more a lot easier for him to actually control the way that the map is played, because the Colossi can deal with the Locust well, but not when there's Corruptors supporting them.
These the Locusts actually at the front, they don't really do a whole lot at this point. The only thing that he can do is try to stop move-outs of his opponent, but he's not really overly aggressive with that. He saw the Warp Prism, so a couple of units already retreating into the main base, but now an attempted 4th will soon be started for Classic. And RorO should really start to use those almost a little bit better. They didn't do anything in this game so far.
Yeah. I mean, he's really not using them at all. They're about as useful as those Zealots just got warped in and died from the roaches. Nice swipe on. I think that's a clean. That's a hard corpse to recognize there. He should recall here if the Zerg army chases. But, you know, the situation here is actually looking better and better for Classic. He's been able to establish a third base easily. He's got a fourth now that I think he will defend. That was pretty scary.
Yeah, that was very close.
He's got +3 on the way. Range is done. All he has to do now, of course, is defend this attack. Not going to be easy, but it is relatively manageable. He needs a few more warp of units, though, and he needs to make sure that his micro is basically perfect.
His position is definitely looking a lot better than in the early stages of the game. A fifth base coming down for RorO. The problem really being that even if you have a good bank, the problem that sometimes arises is that a Protoss player that is maxed out has such a strong army that you might not win a direct fight, and then he can reinforce, whereas you are struggling to get your units together. RorO kinda lost his control a bit.
Yeah.
He still has a good hold on the map. He has still a lot of creep spread here. He has those spaces, so it's not like he's falling behind. But he gave his advantage away a little bit.
He's allowing Void Rays to come into the game as well, being this slow. Stargate's done. +1 is on the way for Void Rays. And pretty soon it's going to be that Husky parody song about Void Rays. And we're just going to see Void Rays, and then some more Void Rays. And it's very difficult to deal with in the late game as a Zerg. Needs to blink those Stalkers back against the Zerglings. He's actually just going to fight the Corruptors here.
He doesn't really care about those Stalkers. He's just going for those Colossi, and the rest of the army is going up against the ground army. And you know he can actually really sustain this. The army supply is still in his favor, and now with only Stalkers left, there's not a whole lot that can deal with those Locusts. Killing the Corruptors was the most important thing, and he was willing to trade a lot of his Corruptors to achieve it.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that it's almost like Classic was okay with losing those Colossi as long as he killed the Corruptors, so that now he can build his Void Ray count. The first Void Ray has been shown, and oh, that was a Spork. I thought that was a Corruptor. He's not going to get away with this, in fact, though. The entire Zerg army coming to greet that one War Prism. Maybe a bit overkill, but the Void Ray count's starting to get higher here, and +1 is done for the Void Rays in just a second. I'm liking Classic's position more and more. Like you said, he lost a lot of Corruptors there, but he didn't kill the fourth. And if you don't damage the fourth and you trade a few Colossi for a few Corruptors, it's really good for the Protoss. If a Protoss is ever on 4 bases and he's not pressured in Protoss versus Zerg, the Zerg is probably going to have a problem very, very soon. You have 8 gases as a Protoss, you can make whatever you want.
Swarms were just really not all too useful for RorO so far, and I'm a little bit disappointed by that. It looked like he really had this game, but now Classic is not only coming back, he's starting to be the one who really pushes the buttons. We have so much more income on the other hand, or at least the potential for income with all those bases. Zerglings streaming in right now, a bit of an oversight here by Classic, do not see that, and this is exactly what we were looking for earlier. Beautiful splits here. The warp in failed by Classic, and Zerglings suddenly in the third, taking it down at the natural in the main base. This is more like it. This is more what we should have seen very like a lot earlier from RorO.
You know what's so funny is like the Lings here alone, just a group of like 50 of them have accomplished much more than the Swarm Hosts ever did this entire game.
Yeah.
Killing a base, killing a bunch of probes.
To be fair, the Swarm Hosts opened the path.
Exactly. Without the Swarm Hosts, it would not have been able to get inside.
They took down the rocks and the gateway.
But yeah, it's almost as if RorO just doesn't have a lot of experience using the Swarm Host against
like,
Protoss.
The sad Swarm Host listens to the cast and he's actually, oh come on, like I took everything down without me, it's like nothing, I assisted. And it's like, dude, it's like assists don't count, it's all about you actually like takes the...
takes the kills, you know? And speaking of kills, that second Temple Archive, bit of a buzzkill. It's like, whenever you see you make 2 Temple Archives, you're never happy, but you're like,
just wants to be safe. But now Classic is moving out, and he has the better army.
He has Void Rays, man.
Stronger.
As long as he targets his Void Rays on not Locusts, they will kill everything else.
Where's the corruption? I'm getting frustrated by certain places.
I I think he's just. I think
This is pretty. This base is doomed, in my opinion. Like,
I don't know, man. There's a lot of free units on the ground. Like that Stalker army disappeared faster than a Void Ray can kill a Corruptor.
the second wave of Locust just popped out in time, saved him here. Lost a lot though. On the other hand, the entire bank that RorO just had a few seconds ago is now gone.
I don't know how good of a trade that really was for Classic because
Classic
he lost all of his Stalkers, you know? Yeah, I just wonder if this was the best way to engage.
I actually enjoyed this game like a lot. We have warp-in spots everywhere, bases taken by RorO, but in terms of the income, they were really similar up to a few points, and now we still have a really decent army here for Classic. The only thing that really frustrates me is that we have so often Corruption not used by Zerg players. A couple of times it's because the Corruptors just came out, so they don't have the ability just yet. They're still in cooldown, but Zergs neglect this a lot.
Look at these Warpins, DTs and Zealots in the main. Even with the Spore Crawlers there, he's able to kind of find some room to assassinate the Queen here. Base to the top looks like it will be killed, and just look at the splits on the DTs. He's everywhere. It looks like he's great. He needs to make some more Spores here. I don't know what happened to his other ones. I guess they were killed by Zealots. There's the base gone.
He used those DTs during the last battle already, and it's really great to see that he is able to just make this happen. Both players, that's why I really like this game right now. I have really good moves. We have a couple of mistakes on both sides, but that's to be expected 23 minutes into the game when you have 200 armies fighting each other. So the map presence is really strong here also for RorO. If you think about it, the creep is already spread all the way to the bottom right, and he's now starting to siege up this position. He has a massive lead in army supply, and at this point, Classic has to be very careful. Only 3 Colossi.
Yeah. And he's got to be careful about those Infestors bungling his very important Void Rays. He only has 3 Void Rays now, but a few more coming out. Yeah, 5 with these 2. And here
we go.
17 Corruptors with good fungals. He actually can win this fight easily. And he needs to use Corruption. Now he's using it a little bit here. But, you know, the Archon's doing too much damage, maybe. This is still a really close fight. Needs those Locust waves. Here they come.
Well, the Corruptors are actually like pretty endangered here, but the army supply is much better for RorO. And here he goes once again with Locusts and with Broodlings, all those 3 units. And the Corruptors, they are very damaged, but they survive at least for now. And it looks like there's just an overwhelming amount what he has here. Too much economy, too strong in general. Corruptors are finally about to be gone, but I guess it's a little bit too late already.
Yeah, he's killing the Broodlords.
They're gonna die.
Yeah.
But I think with 34 army supply, you should not be able to.
You can actually just use Infested Terrans. There he goes. Put some Infested Terrans down to help out. That Broodlord will fall. But I think this is going to be it.
It should be. I mean, 32 army supply with the economy that he has. No DTs active on the map anymore. 4 mining bases. 5 in total for the Zerg player. He has the sustainability that he needs.
Yeah.
But I just feel like RorO could have had it a little bit easier in this game.
I think you're right. This has definitely been a strange game in a lot of ways, but an exciting one. Very back and forth.
Definitely, yeah, that's definitely true. But at this point, I mean, Classic is like fighting like a lion, but just when you have Stalkers in the game, Stalkers alone against Broodlings and Locusts is not what you need. I'm a little bit surprised that he never really got Storm into the game. He was in 4 bases, so he had the resources to get it.
Yeah, or a 4th Stargate. You know, a 4th Stargate would have been an overwhelming amount of Void Rays, I think. He only using 2, actually. I say 4th, I mean to say 3rd and then maybe a 4th, but
just in general,
just more Stargates.
That we don't see, that we still see a bigger advantage there, yeah. But yeah, either more Stargates and Void Rays, or if you really fight the battle on the ground, then he should have probably used at least a few High Templars with Storm.
Yeah. Just no additional air upgrades either, and no Tempest. GG as he's harassing the base to the south. Too many spines.
If you have Broodlords and Swarm Hosts, then you need a little bit more area if you want to win as a Protoss player, or you need air.
That was an interesting series. RorO very aggressive, and then in the last game, aggressive early on, but still able to play a strong league game. And Classic's got to be frustrated with that loss. He will actually drop down to Code B.
Yeah, Classic drops to Code B, which is pretty sad given how well he played here. But yeah, this game, I feel was a little bit weird because I thought that RorO could have done so much more. He delayed this natural for so long. He took down Harvesters, he killed a couple of sentries. He had a great position in the game. He was going up to 3 bases right away. He got his 4th when he realized, okay, my opponent is getting 4th, 3rd on his own. And his Swarm Hosts were in the game.
Yeah.
And once they were there, he didn't do anything. They were just sitting there. He had, I think, nine swarm hosts at the beginning, and they didn't do a thing. There was nothing that Classic could have done to really take them out. He could have moved a little bit farther into the map without exposing them at all. He already did a decent creep spread.
Yeah, it's almost like he was using them defensively, but there was no reason to use them defensively.
There was no way for his opponent to attack while he's getting a third base.
Yeah.
So RorO could have actually pressured him a lot more than he did, and he allowed to get Classic back into the game. And in the end, it was really close. At times, Classic was ahead in army supply, so that was a bit iffy there. But RorO takes it in the end. We're going to start with our next best of 3 after a 5-minute break. So guys, see you in a few.